Hi everyone, this is Miles Mortgage Salba, or you may call me Sir Miles, and I would like you to welcome to my Business Ethics and Social Responsibility class. So for today's recorded video discussion, we're just going to continue the first lesson, which is the business organization. And for today's first lesson, we're going to discuss the business organization and the economy. So now, let's define first what is economics. So when we say economics, this is the study how resources used in the production of goods and services are distributed to the consumption within the social system. So basically class, the economics is a study wherein you will know kung ano yung ginagawa po sa mga resources natin sa lugar natin and make these resources as a production to the goods and services that will be distributed by the organization or by the businesses in our market as a consumption or as a food or as a service. Okay, so resources naman, it includes the natural, human, and financial resources are sometimes called factors of production. So class, these resources will help the business to produce a goods and services that will be sold by the businesses. Okay? So basically class, it is natural, human, and financial resources. So the business organization may also have intangible resources such as good brand equity for producing credible production. So we also have two kinds of resources, which is the tangible resources and the intangible resources. So when we say tangible resources, these are the natural, human, and financial resources. So may nahahawakan tayong resources, nakikita natin there's a physical presence. While the intangible resources natin, there are no physical presence of these resources. An example nito ay yung brand ng isang company or ng isang business. So their goal is to turn these resources into competitive advantage that they can use in marketing their products. So we need to make sure that these resources will turn into good quality products and services. So if para maging maganda or magkaroon ng malaking kita or magandang profit ang isang negosyo, we need to make sure that the resources that we have will turn into a good quality product and services. Okay? So first, what is economic system? When we say economic system, it describes how society distributes its resources to produce goods and services. In this system, there are an unlimited demand for goods and services, and the challenge is how to meet this demand with limited supply of resources. So the economic system will describe if how society will distribute its resources to the businesses so that the businesses will produce and goods and services. So we need to make sure kung paano natin makukuha or mapuproduce yung mga unlimited wants natin and needs natin na alam naman natin na limited lang yung mga supply ng resources natin. So we need to make a step or plan kung paano hindi mauubos yung resources natin. Okay, alam naman natin na we have unlimited needs and wants. So walang katapusan yung kagustuhan natin sa isang produkto at serbisyo para mabuhay tayo or para masatisfy tayo. So the big problem here is how we can meet the demand of of product and services while we have we have limited supply of resources. So now we have here the overview of the different economic system. We have the capitalism, communism, and we have also the So we will discuss it one by one so that it will be clear to you kung ano ba yung economic system ng bawat isa. So first, let's define them one by one. When we say capitalism, it is an individual owns and operate the majority of the business that provide goods and services. So dito sa lugar na to, ibig sabihin nito ng capitalism, um, the majority of the businesses in their market or in that location is individually owned and operated by one person. Okay? So it is also known as a free enterprise wherein the capitalism can be pure and modified. So when we say pure capitalism, it is a free market system wherein all economic decisions are made without government uh, intervention. Okay, so we can now make a decision without asking government kung ano yung dapat na gagawin. So when we say naman modified capitalism, it is the government intervenes and regulate business to some extent, which is the law, regulation, and policy. So dito yung mga negosyante natin or yung mga nagnenegosyo still care for the government laws, regulation, and policy. So since nilagay or nagkaroon ng policy about dito sa market na to or about sa pagnenegosyo, we need to know and operate with the government laws, regulation, and policies. So when we say naman communism, according to Karl Marx, communism is a society in which people without regardless to class own own all the nation's resources. So dito sa communism, lahat po ng resources from that places or from that markets is owned by the people. Okay? So in his ideal society, everyone contributes according to each person's ability and people receive good and service based on their needs. So dito sa communism is nakukuha ng mga tao kung ano talaga yung needs and wants nila bilang tao. Okay? So the government determine the goods and services needed by the citizen as well as the production and distribution of the goods and services. So ang part lang po ng gobyerno or ng government is he will determine what kind of goods and services needed by the citizen. And of course, kapag nalaman niya na kung ano yung need ng isang citizen or ng mga tao, he need to make sure or he need to make a production and distribution of a goods and services that really needed by the market or by the people. Okay? So while socialism naman, the government owns and operates basic industries, but individual own most businesses. Okay? So dito sa system na to or sa socialism, some basic industries are owned by the government and somehow there are individuals or businessmen own also a business in this economic system. So dito, central planning and socialism, central planning determines the production and distribution of a good and service, while individual businesses provide other goods and services based on the consumer demand and availability of resources. So these individuals that owned and operated a business, he will just make a product or services na kung saan yun yung gusto ng isang market. But then, usually dito, hawak pa din or some industries are also holding by the government. So at least dito, there's a 50-50 na kung saan pwedeng owned by the government but also it owned also by the people. So when it comes to business ownership naman, the business are owned and operated by individual and corporation. So the businesses is owned and operate by individual and corporations, while sa communism naman, business are owned and operated by the government. So, lahat po ng negosyo dito sa lugar na to ay operated and owned by the government, while sa socialism naman, major industries are owned and operated by the government. So, some basic industries are owned by the government, while yung small businesses naman are owned by the individuals. Next naman, we have the competition. So when we say competition, it is the encourage market forces and government's regulation. So sa capitalism, ito po yun. While sa communism naman, there is no competition as the government owns and operates the business. So wala pong competition kasi nga lahat ng businesses ay may-ari po ng gobyerno. Well, sa ano naman, socialism, there is a restricted in major industries owned and operated by the government, but encourage the small businesses. So there's still a competition since some businesses is owned also by the individuals. Okay? Compare with capitalism na lahat talaga ng businesses ay owned by individuals. So mas malaki yung competition dito compared to communism and socialism. So let's proceed to the profit. When we say profit to capitalism is that individual keep profit and decided on how to use them. So since individuals own the business, so it's up to them kung anong gagawin nila doon sa nakuha nilang pera sa pagnenegosyo. While sa communism naman, profits go to the government since all businesses or all industries are owned by the government. So kung ano man yung makuha niyang pera sa mga negosyo niya ay mapupunta lang sa gobyerno. While yung socialism naman, profits from government-owned enterprise go to the government while the small businesses owners reinvest their profits. Okay? While sa product availability and prices naman, prices of product determined by the supply and demand and consumer enjoy the wide selection of products. So dito, there are wide selections of products since there are a lot individuals own the businesses. While sa communism naman, prices of products are high with limited choices of goods and services. So dito, limitado lang po yung goods and services natin at medyo may kamahalan po yung presyo nito. While sa socialism naman, the products are determined by supply and demand. So nakabase po yung presyo kung gaano kalaki or kaunti yung demand ng isang supply ng isang negosyo or kung gaano kalaki yung demand ng isang customers. So while consumer have some choices of products, so medyo madami-dami din po yung choices of products dito sa socialism. So when it comes to employee options naman, there are unlimited choices of career for everyone. So there are a lot of good employment career here in capitalism, while sa communism naman, most people work in the government while with a little option of choosing a career, while sa socialism naman, many people work in the government with some options in choosing the career. So mas maganda yung sa socialism class because they have choices to work in government and they can choose whatever career they want. Okay? So let's proceed to free enterprise system. So when we say free enterprise system, free enterprise give an opportunity for business organization to succeed or fund based on the demand of the market. So the consumer can freely choose to pay for goods and services that they want. So they have the freedom to get what they want or what they need as long as they pay for that goods and services. So the businesses can efficiently produce, distribute, and market their products will mostly likely succeeded. So since it is a free enterprise, The business have the freedom to do whatever they want as long as nasa batas at maganda yung ginagawa nila. So kapag maganda yung produkto, maganda yung distribution nila, and they have a good marketing strategies, for sure they have the biggest succeed in the in the society. So those that do not offer what consumers seek may fail. So kapag hindi na determine ni business or ni organization yung needs and want ng mga tao, there's a tendency na mag-fail po yung isang negosyo. So there are certain rights that individual and business organization must have in their or have in order to for the free enterprise system to work. First, we have the right to own private property na kung saan individual must have the right to own a property and be able to pass it on their heirs. So the right motivate people to work hard so they can afford to buy property. So dito, the individuals or the business organization motivate them to work harder so that they can afford to buy a property, and these properties can be able passed to the next generation. So they have the right to own a private property. Aside from that, individuals or business organization have the right to freedom of competition, wherein individual and business organization must have the right to make decision on how to operate businesses and compete with other business within the limit of laws, principle, and values. So they can compete with other entity. Okay, as long as there is a limit in a law, principle, and values of a government. Next, we have the right to own business and keep all profit. So individual and business organization have the right to earn profit and be able to use the profit as they wish. So it's up to them kung anong gagawin po sa profit na nakuha nila sa isang negosyo. So they have the right to have a business and keep all the profit that they achieve in their business. Aside from that, they have the right to freedom to choose. Okay, so individual must have the right to choose the career they to pursue and the place to live in and goods and services to purchase of a take advantage of. So dito, you have the freedom to choose kung ano yung gusto mo sa buhay mo. Okay? If ever na gusto mo itong career na to, then wala pong makakapigil kung ito yung gusto mo, and etc. Okay? So yan po yung right of freedom or right to freedom of choice. So these are the roles of business organization in the society. First, providing goods and services. Next, creating employment opportunities. Third, advancing the economy. Fourth, promoting sustainability. And last, investing innovation and excellence. So ito po yung ginagawa ng mga business organization sa lugar natin or sa society natin. So they give goods and services that they need, that we want or that we need. They create employment opportunities for the people who don't have jobs. Of course, through creating job, it advance our economy. So gumaganda yung takbo ng ekonomiya natin, and aside from that, we promote sustainability. And the very good, I mean, best role of a business organization is that they innovate and they excellent in what they are doing. Okay. So now we will go to next topic, which is the ethical corporate culture. So we will have a second part of our topic. So please don't forget to watch the next recorded video discussion. So if you have any question, clarification, and suggestion about the first topic that we discussed, which is economics, please don't hesitate to contact me through Messenger or through Gmail. So again, thank you for watching the first part of our recorded video discussion.